Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever noticed that, in the entertainment world, the loudest noise often comes from people who do not know the full story? Tonight, two of the most influential names in Chinese entertainment, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, quietly make the same decision. They do not shout. They do not create chaos. Instead, they both issue a clear message. Enough is enough. There will be consequences. What happened? Why did they both move at almost the same time? And what does this say about who they really are beyond rumors, beyond shipping, beyond fan wars? Welcome to Star Watch Now. Let's walk through the details, the emotions, and the deeper meaning behind this turning point in their careers. Before the hashtags, the trending lists, and the endless debates, there were simply two young men chasing the same fragile dream. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo did not begin as untouchable top stars. They started as trainees and performers who knew what it meant to stand at the very edge of the stage, hoping someone would notice. The world only truly discovered them when the Untamed exploded across Asia and then far beyond. But their story had already been written in years of practice rooms, small performances, and quiet perseverance. As their fame grew, something powerful happened. For millions of viewers, they stopped being two separate individuals and became a kind of mirrored symbol. One represented warmth, gentleness, and steady kindness. The other carried an image of cool self-control and sharp focus. Together, they were described as a perfect balance, a combination that could not be manufactured. Fans saw in them not only talent, but a reflection of their own hopes, that hard work and sincerity could still change a life. Yet fame is never a one-sided gift. The higher they climbed, the heavier the shadows became. Every shared look, every interview, every behind-the-scenes moment was replayed, slowed down and reinterpreted. Admiration gradually mixed with entitlement. People began to feel they owned not just their work, but their private lives and inner thoughts. A joke taken out of context, a tired expression caught by a camera, a rumor started by a single anonymous account. All of these could suddenly swell into a wave. What began as a shared dream of performing turned into a daily exercise in endurance, as they tried to protect their sense of self in a world that insisted on defining them. Sometimes the world does not remember the moments that are loudly announced. It remembers the ones that almost pass unnoticed. The day of the Olympic torch relay in Paris was meant to be a celebration of sport and unity, not a test of character. Wang Yibo walked with the torch in his hand, surrounded by noise, cameras, and excitement. Amid that chaos, the Chinese flag slipped, touching the ground where feet and confusion threatened to trample it. Many people might not have seen it or might have assumed someone else would take care of it. He did not hesitate. With the torch still in his grasp, he bent down, picked the flag up, and secured it. No speech, no performance, just a quiet decision that revealed what he valued. That single gesture spread across social media, translated into different languages and replayed from multiple angles. People wrote that details reveal character. And in that simple movement, they saw someone who stayed attentive, even when the world around him was overwhelming. For a moment, the conversation was not about fandom politics or industry gossip, but about respect, responsibility, and the calm instinct to do what feels right. Yet the same idea of details was also used against him in another chapter of his life. At a promotional event, when asked what he had learnt from a role, he replied, "I don't know. It was a brief, awkward moment, the kind anyone might experience when put on the spot." But this time, the detail was used as a weapon. The phrase circulated alongside old spelling mistakes and untidy handwriting, stitched together into a narrative of low cultural literacy. The contrast is striking. One quiet detail crowned him as thoughtful and grounded. Another, pulled out of context, tried to define him as uneducated. In both cases, the world chose which detail to believe, forgetting there is always a fuller person behind a single frame or a stray sentence. The Untamed did more than entertain. It created a universe that viewers did not want to leave. For many, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo were no longer just actors playing roles. They were the living embodiment of characters who had touched something deep and unspoken. Fans celebrated this connection in the way fans always have. Edits, fan art, stories, subtle symbolism only they could understand. The CP name they were given became a shared language within the community, a way of saying, "We see something beautiful here. There is nothing inherently harmful in loving a fictional bond." Storytelling has always relied on the audience's ability to imagine more than what appears on screen. But when the line between fantasy and reality begins to blur, consequences can follow. Some voices moved beyond appreciation and started insisting their imagined narrative was secretly real. Hints were collected like evidence. Coincidences were turned into proofs, and silence was interpreted as confirmation. What had begun as affection for a drama slowly transformed into pressure on the people behind it. At the same time, unrelated rumors about Xiao Zhan's private life began to spread. Anonymous posts, half-hidden clues, and suggestive comics pointed towards relationships never confirmed, never substantiated. Fan groups devoted to clarifying misinformation did what they could, but the pattern was clear. Once the public decides that speculation is entertainment, the truth loses its value. For the artists involved, the cost is more than an uncomfortable headline. It is the erosion of their right to be seen as professionals first and private individuals second. It is the feeling that their real relationships with family, friends, and colleagues are being overwritten by stories they did not choose and cannot easily erase. When fiction, fantasy, and reality are all mixed together, it is always the real people who bleed quietly at the edges. There comes a moment, even for the most patient person, when silence stops being a form of grace and becomes a kind of self-betrayal. For a long time, both Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo tried to live with the storms that swirled around their names. They focused on their work, took on new roles, and showed up where they were expected. They understood that public life attracts public opinion. But there is a difference between criticism and cruelty, between discussion and deliberate defamation. When that line was crossed too many times, they chose to respond in the one way that could not be twisted into more drama: through the law. On a seemingly ordinary day, two separate announcements reshaped the conversation. Xiao Zhan, through his legal representatives, initiated new actions against individuals and groups who had pushed rumors into sustained harassment. On the same day, Wang Yibo's team released a detailed update on legal proceedings targeting accounts that had repeatedly spread harmful, unfounded accusations. They did not trade accusations in public. They did not call for fan wars or retaliation. Instead, they issued a quiet, powerful decree. Words have consequences, even online. This was more than a private defense of reputation. It was a public statement about boundaries in the digital age. It challenged a dangerous myth that the internet is a place where anything can be said without accountability, where just asking questions is a shield for character assassination, and where the feelings and safety of real human beings are treated as secondary to clicks and engagement. For many observers, these actions felt like a turning point. Fans saw their idols refusing to play the passive victim, choosing instead to stand up with dignity. Others, watching from a distance, were reminded that behind every trending topic there are real lives being worn down by constant scrutiny. In saying, "We will not stay silent anymore," they were not only defending themselves, they were quietly inviting the whole industry and its audience to rethink what kind of behavior we are willing to normalize. Beneath every headline, there is the daily discipline that rarely gets filmed. It is easy to talk about Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo as symbols, as representatives of an era of traffic stars and fan economies. It is harder, but more honest, to remember that their careers are built on the unglamorous repetition of learning lines, refining expressions, rehearsing choreography, and enduring long hours on set. Colleagues and directors who have worked with them often describe the same qualities: an unwillingness to cut corners, a readiness to listen, a seriousness about craft that does not disappear when the cameras stop. Xiao Zhan's path has been marked by roles that demand emotional depth and physical resilience. The bruises from action scenes, the exhaustion after take, the effort to portray not only what a character says, but what he silently endures. All of this speaks of an actor who sees his work as more than a route to fame. When he once joked that being in love might mean being unemployed, he was not just playing with words. He was revealing a mindset that places his responsibility to his work, his team, and his audience above any desire to feed gossip. Wang Yibo's journey, too, reflects a stubborn commitment to growth. Moving between acting, music, dance, variety shows, and even motorsport, he often appears understated in interviews, offering few dramatic declarations. But his choices tell their own story. Taking on complex roles, pushing himself in physically demanding scenes, returning to the basics in each new field rather than relying solely on his existing popularity. This quiet insistence on self-improvement is itself a form of saying no. No to being defined only by image, no to staying within a safe, narrow version of himself that others expect. When both men turn to legal action to protect their names, it is consistent with that same inner stance. Saying no to falsehood, to invasion of privacy, and to sustained harassment is not an act of arrogance. It is an extension of the respect they show their work. It signals that dignity and integrity are not negotiable promotional tools, but the foundation on which their careers and their sense of self must rest. In the end, the story of Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo's shared decision is not only about two individuals in the spotlight. It is also a mirror held up to those of us who watch, comment, and share. Their experiences invite us to reconsider the role we play in the digital world, not as passive consumers of entertainment, but as active participants in a culture that can either build people up or quietly tear them apart. Every time a rumor crosses our screen, we make a choice. We can pause, question its source, and decide not to pass it on until we understand more. Or we can share it instantly, enjoying the thrill of being in the know, even if what we are spreading is uncertain at best and deeply unfair at worst. We often talk about loving our favorite artists, but love that does not protect their humanity is incomplete. If we truly admire someone, perhaps the most meaningful support we can offer is to refuse to use their pain as a form of entertainment. This story also reminds us that fiction and reality are not the same. We are free to enjoy the chemistry of characters, to be moved by their relationships on screen, to dream a little beyond the ending of a drama. But we cross a line when we insist that real people must live according to our fantasies. Respecting the boundary between character and actor is not about limiting imagination. It is about acknowledging that the people we watch have their own private journeys, joys and struggles we will never fully see. As viewers, we hold more power than we realize. Our clicks shape algorithms. Our comments set the tone of discussions. Our choices help decide whether online spaces become kinder or crueler. The decisions made by Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, to work hard, to remain professional, to defend themselves calmly and lawfully, offer a quiet invitation. They ask us to be more thoughtful, more compassionate, and more responsible. To enjoy stories, but not at the cost of someone else's reality. To recognize that behind every name we type, there is a heart that feels. Thank you so much for spending your time with Star Watch Now today. If the story about Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo made you think, made you feel, or simply helped you see them in a new light, please like this video so more people can find it. Subscribe to Star Watch Now for more thoughtful stories about Asian entertainment and global stars, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive. Your support means we can continue to create content that respects both the artists and the audience. Take care, stay kind online, and we'll see you in the next video. Yellow Heart.